Good morning, everyone joining. We'll just give it a few more seconds, give everyone some time to come in. Good morning, everyone joining. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Before we get started, I'm just going to run through a few things on our end. So please note this webinar will be recorded and all attendees are muted throughout the webinar. And to ask any questions, please use the Q&A facility at the bottom of your screen. And when the webinar ends, you'll be directed to complete a short survey for us. This will take less than a minute to complete and your feedback will be anonymous. And if you've dialed in as a guest today, you can view more information about becoming a member and have access to more events like this at www.sapusers.org/register. And if you have any questions, please contact us at support@sapusers.org. I'll hand over to Steve now. I'll take you through the first part of this webinar.
Thank you, Toby. So just one moment while I share my content for today. So good morning and welcome. So my name's Steve Burnham. I'm a client director at Birchman Group. And today we're going to talk about getting more from your SAP data. So whether you're running a mature BW landscape, business warehouse landscape, thinking about what comes next, or you're running SAP Cloud ERP without a dedicated analytics layer, and wondering what you're missing, then this session is for you. So before we get into the technology today, I want to start with a picture or an analogy. So think about two cities. The first built this comprehensive road network in the mid-1990s. It's well engineered, well maintained. Every junction was planned, genuinely a good infrastructure. But the only problem with this is that it was designed before anyone really owned a smartphone, before same-day delivery, before ride-hailing and Uber, before half the workforce started working from home, before cycle lanes, and before electric car charging. Once busy office parks are now, and out-of-town retail centres are now just almost deserted. The roads work, but the city that they were built for no longer exists. The second city never built a road network at all. It grew organically, like many sort of towns and cities in the UK. Original streets that were built for pedestrians and horses and carts are now carrying large trucks and deliveries. People find their own way through. There are shortcuts that locals know, side street and at rush hour, and no one has a complete picture of how the traffic flow actually works. It works because only people have learned to work around the limitations. These two cities are the types of SAP customer that I speak to every week. The first has BW, solid, proven, but built for a world that's moved on. The second is running cloud ERP, but with no dedicated analytics layer, relying on embedded reporting, spreadsheets, data extracts, manual workarounds, all to get insights out of the system. Both of these need a modern infrastructure. They're starting from different places and the path forward looks slightly different for each. That's what today's session is about. So let me just show you our agenda and take you through who are the speakers today. So we're going to start by looking at the timing and why the timing matters. And we'll be specific about dates and support windows here for people who are currently running BW. Then we're going to look at what business data cloud actually is, because I think there's general confusion in the market about where DataSphere stops and BDC starts. And Azure will take us through that. And then we'll make the case for why now is the right moment to act. Then the section I think most of you will be most interested in, which is the migration paths, because there's more than one way to do this, and the right answer always depends on where you're starting from. And then I'll close about how Birchman can help, and then we'll open it up for questions. So I'll just start with today's presenters. So as I said, my name is Steve Burnham, and I'm a client director or account manager with Birchman. And then joining me today, we have Atsushi, and Atsushi will come on to introduce himself, and then Asya, who's a BDC consultant, and she'll be taking you through the in-depth, more technical aspects of BDC. So with that, I will pass you over to Atsushi.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Hello, everyone. I'm Atsushi, and I'm a business data cloud solution specialist at SAP. Um, let's go back to our load network analogy that Steve just explained for a moment. So there's a point where the maintenance bills start to increase and where the bridge needs structural service more often than you expected, and where the traffic patterns have changed so much since it was built to begin with. And the patching the existing layout and the infrastructure is no longer the most productive use of your budget. Nobody is saying that roads have failed, but the economical maintain them have shifted, and opportunity cost of not investing in something better starts to add up. That is the exact situation with Business Warehouse today. SAP Business Warehouse 7.5 reaches end of maintenance in December 2027, and extended maintenance runs towards December 2030, but at a premium. The second point in this slide is easy to overlook. It's not just about BW in isolation. Future version of SAP S4, DataSphere, and SAC, all those components are being designed and tested against the modern technology and data stack. That means it will become increasingly difficult to keep your current business warehouse environment aligned with rest of your SAP landscape. Not because anyone has pulled a switch, but because center of gravity has shifted, and technology landscape has also shifted so much. And the longer you wait, the more complex any transition becomes. Not because the technology gets harder, but because the landscape continues to grow. New reports or new functions or new integration get added, and the footprint you eventually need to move keeps growing. Management board might ask you how you can utilize AI with your current data set. Business data where data cloud has an answer for that. The question is not whether to move. SAP has answered that with guidance. The question is whether you move on your own terms with a plan or under pressure when the deadline forces your hand. The organizations that move on their own terms with clear plan and timeline will have much better experience than those that leave it until the pressure builds. So now I'm handing over to Asher to explain what Business Data Cloud and what it means for the customer. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Tishi, and thank you, Steve. My name is Asya Oz, and I will be walking you through with the modernization journey, as well as what really is BDC, and we'll be going over some details about how can we modernize what we have existing, or if we don't have any existing BW, how can we start our BDC journey? So just to start, I will talk you to about these SAP portfolio. So this portfolio has changed to better explain the BDC vision. Over here at the heart, you're seeing Business Data Cloud and underlying with Business Technology Platform. Right up top, surrounding it, there's Cloud ERP. And above, you're seeing your LOB solutions, financial management, SAP management, supply chain management, human capital management, customer experience. And you can see at the top, dual agents are orchestrating with everything under it. Everything is actually with BDC is actually intact and under the same fabric. Over here, what I can tell you that is the most important is AI is as good as the data behind it. So with BDC, we can see everything being under one roof. It's preparing our AI agents for specific LOB solutions. It's getting ready BDC systems with the data products. It's talking to each other. At the end, we're able to use our dual agents more efficiently. Oh, we can go next, please. Over here, I will talk to you about the Business Data Fabric. So previously, the Business Data Fabric was already existing with DataSphere and Analytics Cloud. But now with the new BDC vision, we have DataSphere, Analytics Cloud, Business Warehouse, SAP Databricks, and its AI Foundation. We now have all these solutions under Business Data Fabric. So DataSphere being at the core application from this all, as it can be used as a data lake with the business semantics. Analytics Cloud are, of course, analytics and planning purposes. Business Warehouse now has a private cloud edition where we can move it to cloud. And SAP Databricks and Snowflake with the new partnerships that can be leveraged AI solutions. We can go next. DataSphere being the core of these solutions, wanted to give you a little more of what it looks like in DataSphere. So one of the most important capabilities in DataSphere, with the time evolving, our customers have a lot of data, not only in SAP from different sources. So how we can use SAP DataSphere, we can actually take data from SAP applications as well as external sources and use DataSphere as a data lake and like a data hub. Inside SAP DataSphere, we have data federation, data replication, data transformation, space management, where we can actually manage our spaces with the authorizations and helps us organizing the data. Semantic onboarding, data business modeling, where we can do ETL on its own DataSphere itself. Catalog and data marketplace is a place where we can see data products that are managed by SAP, where we can take advantage of these data products that are already built in the system for us and take advantage of this housekeeping purposes as well. And also to the DataSphere, we can connect with SAP applications through private cloud edition that we will talk about in a little bit more, and SAP BW Bridge as well. We can go next. Just before we move into talking more in detail about the modernization steps, I wanted to tell you why does it matter to keep the BDC solutions together and intact. So when we're moving a data set from place to place, yes, we are able to move the data, but the relationships, business logic, master data hierarchies, and business semantics will be lost. And that will cost us high effort, time, and resources. So with BDC, by using our data products, we can move our data products across the solutions with zero copy capability. We don't have to actually copy everything. We can make it once and reuse it. And these data products that I'm talking about also can be used by the user as well. So once they're created, we can move it across BDC and start leveraging it from day one. We can go next. Right around here, as Atishi also mentioned, I would like to tell you about a couple of the dates that everyone is talking about. So by BW decommissioning dates that I have been hearing a lot of people talking, wanted to clarify some of the dates in the minds. So for our SAP BW 7.5 user on any database, it will be end of mainstream maintenance in 2027 December. And SAP BW 7.5 on SAP HANA, extended maintenance will be until 2030 December. And our SAP 400 users, the maintenance support will be at least until 2040. And if it will depend on the need, it can extend. But for now, it's at least until 2040. And our new BW Private Cloud Edition, which we'll talk about in detail in a little bit, is fully supported in BDC and it will be ongoing. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is we have time to move, yes, but the rush is not because we don't have time, it's running out, our BW existing data, we're not going to be able to use it anymore. It's not that rush. Our rush is to be able to modernize, innovate, and actually take advantage of the new BDC capabilities. We can go next. Thank you. So over here, now we have actually two options. If you are already using BW, we have this lift, shift, and innovate action that we're going to be talking about. And if you don't have any existing BW, there's a greenfield approach that we will cover later on. For now, let's say you have your BW existing modeling and you're planning on moving to BDC DataSphere. And how can we do this stage? So with these three keywords, lift, shift, and innovate. So on the lift part, your existing SAP BW will be lifted to Private Cloud Edition, and we will be talking about the prerequisites of this in next slides. But the very first thing we have to do is get our previous existing SAP BW and then get it ready to be lifted to Private Cloud Edition. And this Private Cloud Edition is still BW available for you in cloud. And in the shift session, now we have our Private Cloud Edition ready. We can use that and start making data products inside BDC DataSphere. Once we have that data available in BDC environment, we will be starting to build models and taking advantage of BDC capabilities. And on the Innovate, after some time, in day one, you started using your data products and modeling, but with time, our goal is to actually be BDC native. Then we're going to start exploring SAP managed data products, and we start using our custom-made maybe data products inside BDC. And with time, the goal is being BDC native. We can go next. Thank you. And what I explained in the previous slide, this is more to visualize it in the mind. So if you have your SAP BW NetViewer in BW for HANA, your existing BW, you're lifting it up to Private Cloud Edition, and now it's ready to be moved to Business Data Cloud. Once you push it through DataSphere, turn it into a data product, leveraging object store, then you can move your data products now that can talk through across the business fabric solutions. You will be starting to build your models and start leveraging your Joule agents as well. So what we call here is just like one before, we have to first optimize and lift and modernize and shift, and then innovate, and hopefully in the innovative session, we're expecting to be the BDC native. You can go next. Here, some of the existing BW customers might have in mind, okay, I have this version of BW, I have this year. What do I have to do for lifting? How can I actually start this process right away? Just to answer that, we're going to be looking at this diagram and I will explain. So the good news, it actually supports BW 7.5 and for HANA. So if you have your BW 7.5 and a DB, you just have to first move it to HANA DB, and then you can move it to Private Cloud Edition right away. If you have your 7.5 on HANA DB already, you have to make sure it's SPS 24 or highest latest version, and then you can move to Private Cloud Edition right away. And if you're on SAP for HANA 2023, there is no prerequisites. It's a direct route to Private Cloud Edition. If you're 2021, you have to make sure SPS 04 or the latest version as you wish. And if you're 2.0 or 1.0, you have to upgrade to 2023 and you're ready to move. With that being said, you don't have to move right away from 7.5 if you have existing BW version 7.5. You first can say, okay, I am going to move to SAP BW for HANA and leverage what it offers me and then move to private cloud. And these conversations, of course, will be taken in experts in the modernization journey. But the good news, it's supported either way you choose. We can go next. Here, before we go into more detailed technical details, I wanted to show you on the left-hand side what it will look like on day one of your lift, shift, and innovate journey, which is modernization. Once you have moved to Private Cloud Edition, you lift it and you shift it into DataSphere BDC, BW data products. You've shifted. Now you can start using that data. You can use SAP Analytics Cloud intelligent applications. You can have your data moved to SAP Databricks, and you're able to use it from day one. And in the long run, what we're aiming to do is, like I mentioned before, start using maybe SAP managed data products and start being SAP native. So SAP managed data products and intelligent applications enable customers to consume and create analytics scenarios supporting a clean core strategy. So you can start having your own data products, your own modeling, and later in the future, you will start having this BDC tool. So this is from day one. You can start leveraging it without waiting too long. And then the end goal is to look like this, where you're using your data products and SAP managed data products. You can go next. Here, going into more detail of what it looks like. So if you have your SAP on-premise system, any data, SAP data, SAP HANA, you first lift it to private cloud edition. Okay, but how am I going to shift what I have in the private cloud edition, existing BW data that's been building for years, if not decades? We're going to be using data product generator. So first you have to enable data product generator in DataSphere, get it ready, all get this enabled capability, and then you're going to move to DataSphere, where we're holding as a data lake. And then within DataSphere, you can use it with the spaces, semantic onboarding, catalog, and marketplace. Build your models, use DataSphere, or send it directly to Databricks. Take advantage of Databricks Joule solutions. And at the same time, even if you don't have your BW system, you can skip these parts and then move from non-SAP sources directly to SAP DataSphere and create your data lake. We can move forward. Here, to visualize it, what I have explained in just a second ago, you have your LOB products in S/4HANA. Moved it to Private Cloud Edition. Then you use Data Product Generator and moved your existing data into BDC. You have your Delta Lakes, Delta tables inside Object Store. You made them into data products. Then it can be used in DataSphere, SAP Analytics Cloud, SAP Databricks. With this solution, you now have the zero copy approach, where you don't have to replicate everything you're going through the system. Once you've created inside BDC, that's it. You don't have to do it again. You can use it in any solution you can without using extra resources and effort. We can move forward. Thank you. We talked about our data product generator. So some of you might have in mind, okay, how is that used? Just to give a little more technical detail of how is it used, you have your supported info providers. Even if you're using 7.5 or 4 HANA, you have your info objects, ADSOs, composite providers, multi-providers, info cubes, query as info providers. It does support all of them. First, you have to get your info provider, of course, lifted to private cloud edition, and then you put it to CSV file and immerse it to a Delta table. Once you merge it to the Delta table, you have it in your object store ready for you to be used. And through this Delta table, you can push it to a local table inside DataSphere and start building views and analytical models, leveraging the capabilities of DataSphere. Or you can turn it into a data product, again, built in DataSphere, or start sending it through different solutions within BDC, such as Databricks. And if you have some sophisticated transformations, if you have some sophisticated calculations, then you can start leveraging your Apache Spark. In your first created Delta table, you're going to create a target Delta table inside the same space as well. Start doing your transformations inside this Apache Spark without having to go back to BW, and then you will have your transformation ready Delta table available for you. And then you will do the same thing. You can either use it as a local table in DataSphere or move it as a data product, and now it's ready to be reused over and over again to respond to your needs. We can go next. Here we talked about data generator, data product generator, but we also have this query template generator. So we have our query that is actually referencing analytical models and views in DataSphere. So with this query template generator, we are able to move our existing calculated key figures and existing calculations into analytical model. Once it's moved to analytical model through query template generator, the next question is, how am I going to fill it up? Well, you have options. First, you can actually use your SAP managed data, where it's constantly being updated and housekeeping is already in place for you. And you can actually connect it with the SAP managed data. Or you can use your data product generator I mentioned a slide before. Take your current info providers into object store, into a Delta tables, move it, turn it into a data product, have it available in your system, and start leveraging it throughout the business fabric. We can go next. Here, I wanted to give you overall understanding of what the architectures between when you move into DataSphere BDC and what you have existing already. In your data source, on the left-hand side, it's a BW existing architecture. You have your data source, transformation, DTP, info object, ADSO, InfoCube, DSO, composite provider, multi-provider, and query. So when we look into the next chart on the right-hand side, query and composite provider, multi-provider actually is now story in SAC, analytical model, and views that we can actually leverage in DSP. So our queries and composite providers is now story, analytical model, and views. And under the modeling part, it will be SAP managed data products. So you will have your data products replacing this architecture on the left side, prepared for you and ready to be reused. We can go next. Just to summarize the options we have. So we talked about our private cloud edition. So this is for customers who has already very valuable existing BW modeling, and they want to start taking advantage and start leveraging BDC's capabilities from day one. So you can start with the private cloud edition. You can start using BDC while you continue your innovation path at the same time as taking advantage of what you already have in BW. And as the greenfield approach, this is also if the customer is not in SAP environment at all, of course, they will have to build it from scratch. But some of the customers actually look at this as an opportunity to just rebuild, reimagine processes, eliminate legacy complexity, or take full advantage of cloud native features. So redesign your data analytical model landscape to focus on SAP Business Data Cloud capabilities. So some of the customers, even though they can use private cloud edition, they say, okay, I can use this, but I'm going to actually start looking at what I've already done and maybe reduce what I don't need anymore, clean it up with the more summarized version, looking into redesigning our opportunities and processes, and start building from scratch and use BDC completely away from BW. So you have these two approaches that you can pick from. One is greenfield approach where you're going to build from scratch. And the second one is private cloud edition. You will be able to leverage what you have in BW already and then keep your innovating path with the time while using BDC capabilities. And I think next.
That's it. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Asya. So thank you for that overview. If you've got any questions for Asya, you can put those into the chat and we'll come to those at the end of today's session. So now we'll go back to Atsushi, who will just give us a few more details on why DataSphere and BDC are worth the investment today.
Thank you. So coming back to the analogy we started with, so many organizations still rely on that road network built in 90s. It was well designed back then, but it's now being asked to support very different demands, as you may aware. Real-time analytics, AI, self-service reporting, and data consolidation coming from multiple resources. This is exactly why many customers are seeing complexity in their current landscape. And yet, not only one. Analytics is fragmented across S4, business warehouse, and non-SAP systems. This leads to higher operational cost, data silos, and inconsistent insights. Business Data Cloud helps this in practical way, as Asha explained. It enables federated access to live data across different systems without always needing to replicate it. This allows business users to explore and combine data more easily. At the same time, if we look ahead, AI readiness became super critical for any organizations. To fully leverage business AI and Joule, organizations need a harmonized and scalable data foundation. And this is what BDC is designed to prove, a more business-centric, future-ready data platform. Another key point in this slide is trust in data. Business Data Cloud allows organizations to maintain a single version of the truth, preserving business rules, semantics, and hierarchies in a consistent way. And data product is the one example to enable that. This helps avoiding conflicting understanding across the divisions and improve decision-making across businesses. So overall, the case for moving now is clear. It's not about replacing what worked before, but about modernizing it while the business still continues to run, just like upgrading road network while traffic is still flowing. And fundamentally, it's about reducing complexity and enabling innovation and preparing for the organization to be ready for the next generation of data and AI. Now I'm handing over to Steve. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Asushi. So just to summarize, really, obviously we're presenting today about the BW to BDC journey, but equally this holds if you're not currently a BW or SAP Business Warehouse customer. We can help with either side of that equation. So Bertram, we're an SAP Platinum partner. We've been implementing DataSphere now for many years for customers who are dealing with exactly those challenges that we've been talking about today. One of those customers is a large gold mining customer called Barrick Gold. And we implemented DataSphere there to handle data volumes that the BW simply just could not manage. We're talking millions of lines of historical and transactional data, business users in plant maintenance, finance, supply chain, all now building their own models and reports. And they connected SAP, Ariba, Azure Data Factory, Databricks, all flowing through DataSphere. But another customer, a large sort of food and beverage customer, we used DataSphere to solve performance problems that they were getting in SAP's cloud ERP. So we found a creative integration pattern where DataSphere acted as an intermediary in a BTP flow, aggregating data and pulling everything together that the third-party system just couldn't manage. And also in a manufacturing customer in the UK, we're now in a third phase of building out DataSphere with SAC for single version of the truth along SAP and non-SAP data. So how do you get started? Well, what we offer is what's called a lighthouse assessment. So we look at your current data estate, your BW landscape if you have one, your non-SAP sources, all your reporting tools and pain points, and we map a target state architecture with DataSphere at the center. And then we'll build a phased roadmap that starts with a low risk, low effort use case, and then scale when you're ready. So it's not big bang, it's not sort of leap of faith. You can just pick a really good use case and then go from there. One thing to point out is a DataSphere tenant is relatively low cost. So it's not talking about big investment up front. We can start small, even for a mid-market organization. We're not talking sort of huge figures to get started, and then we can go from there. We also cover the full BDC stack, so DataSphere modeling, BW Bridge, Databricks integration, anything that you want to do. We've probably come across that already. And what we don't do is just sort of hand you a roadmap and walk away. We'll give you timelines and what it takes to deliver it. So before we open up for questions, I suppose let me just sort of close the loop on where we started. So we began today talking about a road network for cities that really no longer exist. The roads work, but no one's saying that that's a failure. It's just that demands have changed. The world that was built for really no longer exists, and there's a narrowing maintenance window. So there's a better infrastructure available, a better way of doing things for the way that the organization actually operates today. And the organizations that have the best experiences are the ones that will start planning now. So while there's time to think about this, to choose the best way forward, And again, it's not because anyone's forcing the pace, but it's because a considered transition is always better than a rushed one. So with that, we'd love to hear your questions. Toby, is there any questions there that have come through yet?
Yes, there is a few have come in here. The first one I'm seeing is, how does BW in private cloud and DataSphere and BTP work commercially? And do we have to license both of the products at a time until we fully move to DataSphere?
So any kind of commercial questions, it's sort of on a per customer basis. So you don't have to license everything to begin with. You can start with just DataSphere as part of BDC as a sort of wraparound contract, but anything commercial, it's better to sort of have that on a customer to customer basis. So after this, I'll put up a screen where you can book a call with me, and then I can sort of take you through what those commercial aspects are. Is that okay?
Perfect. And second question in here is, does Data Product Generator move data models, including ABAP transformation logic, and the corresponding data from BW to DataSphere?
Asia, I'll let you handle that one.
Yes. So the data product generated does not migrate BW data models or ABAP transformation logic. It exposes existing BW data as governed data products in SAP BDC for consumption. But if you want to modernize BW query logic, SAP provides query template generator. So customer specific ABAP routines and transformations logic need to be redesigned using capabilities of the target platform, such as SQL or DataSphere transformations, or Apache Spark where appropriate. So we have to first analyze the sophistication, like the complexity level of what you have, and try to leverage Apache Spark where appropriate, but still need to do, there are some limitations. We have to do some redesigning inside BDC for the above transformation logic.
Thank you. Another question in here is, we are upgrading BW4 from 2.0 to 2023 right now. It's hosted on SAP, HEC, Azure. Is there a technical step post-upgrade to move to BDC, BW, PCE? Do we need to do this lift step?
So if you already moved to BW for HANA in 2023, you're completed the technical prerequisite for the modernization journey. So if you are existing BW's 2023, you're just going to have to lift it, the private cloud edition, and then you will be ready to go.
Perfect. Two more questions I've got in here. One of them is, in a DataSphere tenant that serves both seamless planning and central reporting, where is the supported ownership, role management, boundary between parties building planning data flows and parties governing the spaces and semantic models?
So DataSphere provides role-based access control, allowing responsibilities to separate it across users and teams. So typically, planning teams manage planning models and data flows within their assigned spaces, while platform and government teams manage spaces, security, semantic models, and shared business content. So the exact ownership model is defined by the organization's governance framework, but SAP recommends clear separation of responsibilities using spaces, roles, and privileges. So within a data sphere, you can create your spaces to organize your data and put in your role-based access control to make sure you have your tenants actually parted and you can manage the access.
Perfect. Thank you. Two more here. One's just coming. If we decide to go with the greenfield approach, I understand we will not have the data product generator tool available to us. Are there any tools to help us migrate? Can we use BW Bridge?
If you start moving into greenfield approach, then you don't need BW Bridge or data product generator. Greenfield technically means that you're actually going through what you have existing in BW, redesigning and going through to summarize what you're using and actually what only you're using, and start redesigning in the BDC system. So you won't need any of these connection tools if you're going to be using greenfield approach.
Perfect. Thank you. And the last question I'm seeing in here is, Does moving from BW to DataSphere with the intention to sunset BW need a re-implementation of all data modeling in DataSphere?
So SAP's modernization approach is designed to maximize the reuse rather than require complete rebuild. So tools such as data product generator, query template generator, they help customers reuse existing BW data reporting logic while we're innovating towards being BDC native. However, some customer-specific modeling, transformation, or customable logic may still need to be redesigned depending on the target architecture and business requirement. So you first need to analyze what you have existing in BW and needs to be analyzed the complexity of it and need to be a plan of what can we transfer and what has to be rebuilt within the BDC system. So the goal is try to leverage as much we can from BW, try to save time and resources, but there are some limitations where you will have to look into redesigning and rebuilding some of the parts of your modeling existing.
All right, thank you. We're just going to pop a poll up quickly now for you to answer. And Steve, did you say there was a slide you wanted to go through at the end?
Yep. Thank you, Toby. So just thank you everyone for your time today. Thank you to our two presenters, Asya and Sushi. If anything that we've discussed today has resonated, there's a QR code on the screen now. That will take you straight to my calendar. Always happy to have a confidential conversation about where you are, what the options are like, and what will sort of work for your specific situation. I suppose if there's one thing I'd like you all to take away from today at this point, it's that try to think that the roads don't have to close for you to start planning new routes. So that's the whole point, is that you can keep doing what you're doing, but build new roads, new infrastructure to meet today's world. So with that, I will say thank you and hand you back to Toby.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. There is just one more question that's just coming here, sorry.
Oh.
Will financial consolidation be done in S4 Group Finance? What if we don't have S4 yet? And can BPC run in BDC?
We can start leveraging BPC in BDC as well. Even if you don't have any SAP environment, that DataSphere actually takes data from non-SAP sources as well. So yes, you can.
Perfect. Thank you. That seems to be all the questions there. I just want to say thank you to you three for coming on and speaking today, and thank you all for joining. If there is no more questions, we will leave it there. But once again, thank you all for coming on, and we hope to see you again soon. So thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.